Suggest wedding day. The flowers are perfect. The lighting is perfect. The guests, they smile as if they were watching the first part. A scene from a fairy tale. Promises are clear words, almost as if they had been prepared in advance. Everyone applauds at the appropriate moments. Everyone believes this is just the beginning. It's a happy ending. But look at it closely. Look at the person standing there. The altar. Not the smile on her lips, but eyes behind her. Because there a very particular kind of silence is installed in the mind of someone who is about to marrying someone you don't really love. And it's not a peaceful silence. Not at all. Silence. It is oppression. It is sound. A rational mind that transcends a heart cries out. We grew up with a story. Love leads to marriage. Marriage. It leads to happiness. And if you're lucky, everything is fine. But for millions of people, for many, marriage is not about passion. It's about stability. Safety. It's about pressure. It's the point is that time is running out. Choose the person who generates the most profit. It seems logical on paper, because the fear of the feeling of loneliness weighs more than the fear itself. The feeling of not being loved. That's it. A tragedy. At least, that's what it looks like from the outside. You have died. You feel it deep within your being. It's like you vanished without a trace. Why would intelligent people do something like that? Do self-aware people do that? Why do people do that? They give their lives to someone who touches their emotions. Is there no joy left in their souls? What is happening? For the human soul when it is forced living a lie day after day, year after year. The year. Today we delve into the details. In the psychology of someone who doesn't know love marriage. Its purpose is not to judge anyone, but a vision of the hidden forces that music brings stability to people and the silent emotional cost that results from it. Because sometimes the most painful thing is, loneliness isn't about being alone. It's about being together. She is married and feels completely invisible. To understand why someone is married without love, we must end a relationship. One of the greatest myths ever spread by society. This love is the main reason people get married. Historically, the wedding was not a romantic event. That was a contract and a survival strategy, a means to secure and protect the country and lineage. Love is the foundation. This condition is considered a modern luxury, something that people started to expect when life has become safer, longer, and more fulfilling. Individual. But this is the truth, even in 2026, that the ancient instinct for survival still exists. Deep within the human nervous system, psychology points to several powerful factors, forces that push people towards a life without love. Trade unions. And one of the most powerful trade unions is something similar to a phobia of having children. Staying single. You might not hear that very often. A common word in everyday conversations, but I felt his presence. Because a silent, social clock keeps ticking in the background of our lives. Around the age of 30, you should be settled in by around 35 years old. Have children. By the time you're 40, you should have a family. Life proves music that you weren't. She fell behind. And with those deadlines, approach without the person in question appearing. Panic begins to change your norms and values. Your brain stops optimizing its performance to happiness begins with reducing risks. Then the rules change. You stop looking for your soulmate and start we are looking for a musical candidate. Are they stable? Are they loyal? Will I get a good job? Will my family support me? Do we agree? Do we want the music the same way? The future. Logic is becoming transactional. I may not like them, but they're safe. For some people, security is more than just safety. Preference. It's like a drug, especially for all those who grew up in chaos. Music, poverty, emotional neglect, the instability. When you live in if survival mode persists long enough, love ceases to exist. To feel important, what you long for is not passion, that's comfort. A stable relationship. It doesn't seem like a love story. I feel like I'm in a musical sanctuary here, a fortress, faced with unpredictability the world. And then there's another trap, just one. At first glance, that seems healthy. The obstacle of values compatibility. You know someone who shares your opinion about money, politics, family, religion, ambition. As a musical group, they work very well together. Don't get into an argument like that. You're right. The mind begins to negotiate about the music. With all my heart and soul. Look how well we complement each other. Love will eventually grow, but it often doesn't grow. It simply exists. Herein lies the internal conflict. The music begins. Because the choice was logically, but the body retains receipts. From the outside, it looks like this. Just like adulthood. From the inside, it looks like the first chapter of emotional denial. This is the part that interests musicians, the most. They never talk about it. Many people don't. They marry without love because superficial, hopeless, or content with the status quo. That's what they are. They do it because of their nervous system. Sometimes, they are trained from a young age. Music, to confuse certain feelings with love. This hidden engine has a name in psychology. Attachment. Attachment is the blueprint that your brain creates from an early age. Life speaks of the feeling of love and what it means. Costs and what you need to do. For music, save it and you'll know what to expect when I finally understand. So when you're an adult, when the music starts, there aren't many people around. Compatibility-based partner selection. What do they base their choice of partner on? That sounds familiar. For someone who, with an anxious attachment style, love does not thrive. I feel at peace. I feel insecure, like you have to earn it, as it should be. I'm running after her. So if you run into anyone, a settled person, a person with permanent residence, and if it's available, it can feel like a relief. It's not passion, it's redemption. They're not. They think, do I really love them? They think, they won't leave. A person with an avoidant attachment style, the method is different, but so is the trap. Really, habit is suffocating. To be honest, seeing something is dangerous. Therefore, unconsciously, music, they choose someone they don't like at all. Because the lukewarm relationship seems safer than extreme vulnerability. They're working on it. Intimacy without emotional risks. Then comes the shock. When you grow up with chaos, unpredictability, or emotional neglect can cause your brain to start. Incorrectly classifying the signals can lead to an error. Chemistry drama, music, you might confuse fear with attraction. Some people confuse stability with boredom. Therefore, when you find someone you trust, your mind says, that's good. But your body is programmed to seriously. The music whispers, this is not love. This is the moment when people feel. They don't realize that, by doing so, they are creating a lasting legacy. A decision made under his influence. The past. Because it's not always like you. I don't want love. Sometimes, you just don't want it. You'll recognize it when it finally arrives. Music is a healthy activity. So choose it. What feels safe? What feels it's controllable? What is the feeling of the music? Control, and she calls it love. Even marriage forces someone to reveal the truth. Let's be completely honest now, because one of the most dangerous things in music, as far as stability is concerned, it rarely seems to exist. It's like you have to get used to it first. At least, that's how it seems. It feels like growing up. Finally, choosing peace. Sounds like, music, take responsibility. And sometimes, even it seems like love. How do you know? You don't build a life with someone. You want it so badly, but only accepting someone because it simplifies the situation. Is this what scares you? Here are 7 signs that indicate stability, even when your mind keeps trying to convince you to change your mind. The first sign, the feeling of satisfaction is stronger than that of excitement. They don't attract you. You feel safe from loneliness. The second sign, your body avoids it. You can't explain why, but playing feels like an obligation. Kissing is like a theatrical performance. Signal. Third, you feel lighter when they don't exist. Not because you hate them. For them. Because of their nervous system. Finally, she breathes a sigh of relief. Sign up to talk to fourth. You don't share your truth. Your fears, your weird jokes, your deepest dreams remain locked inside you. Tabra, sign number 5. The future looks bleak. On paper he seems stable, but emotionally, it looks like a hallway without sunlight. Tab number 6. Their relationship continues. Logistics, invoicing, purchasing, planning. Hey guys. Everything's working, except connection. Signal 7. You're fantasizing. Another life. Not necessarily another life. The same person, but a different version of yourself. You are the one who feels alive again. And listen, caution, this is important. If you see, this does not mean that you will appear with these characters. You're ungrateful. This doesn't mean that. You're broken. That doesn't mean that. A couple alone is not enough. This means that the inner world tells the truth. Because love isn't just about compatibility. Love is not just stability. Love is vitality. And if the relationship it requires you to shrink back, or lose consciousness, or disappearing is not peace. Emotional survival. As soon as the wedding ceremony is over, as soon as the photos had already been published and the honeymoon was over, the guests leave their homes in silence. The horror begins. Then, the truth comes to light. And for someone who is married without in love, the first psychological battle not with your partner, but with the inner self. Psychology has a term for that. This is called cognitive dissonance. The pain that arises when you are forced to it contains two contradictory truths at the same time. At the same time, the truth is, I promise I will love you. This person forever. Music. The second fact is that I feel nothing when they touch me. This contradiction creates pressure. And the brain, of music, yearns. Reducing discomfort starts with accumulation. Defenses. Justifications. Accounts. Your passion for music is childish. That chemistry will disappear anyway. That's the reality. Love is a duty. That's what music is. This is what adulthood looks like. Just for a moment. The story is a success. But the body is not. Believe in your story. Silence returns. In various forms. Narrow in my chest is irritated for no apparent reason. Emotional numbness, a mild and persistent condition. An inexplicable sadness. Then something happens. The higher the cost, the greater the number of components included in the unit. Wedding. Most people believe that loneliness comes from, I feel alone. But what hurts the most is, loneliness is being next to someone and there is still no one you can truly reach. It is a unity of the undivided being. When you can't share your true thoughts, your deepest fears, your playful side, your weakness stems from something in. The relationship feels empty, so it begins. Cut small pieces yourself. Little by little, the conversations fade away. It turned into a transaction. Did you pay the bill? What's for dinner tonight? Who gets to choose the food? Are you raising children? Not aggressively, not dramatically. An emptiness. And that's what a marriage is. From a certain perspective, the music might sound fantastic. Outside while inside there is a person, it is slowly disappearing. This is something that most people are unaware of. Understand this. You can't solve the problem with logic. Since marriage your nervous system, I don't feel safe there. Because even if your partner is nice, although loyal, even if they do nothing, error message, your body is still recording. The relationship, with music, as an emotional relationship difficulties. Emotional difficulties. It's tension, not noisy tension, and not shouts, music, fights, silent tension, the kind that never end. If you live year after year without real contact, your nervous system adapts to the music, the way you always adapt in the long term. There is discomfort. The device remains active or it doesn't work anymore. Some people are chronic and disordered anxiety. He gets angry easily. He is very sensitive to music. Little things. Their sleep cycles and his musical taste changes, and so does his opinion. He won't stop running. But the others crumble. They don't. I feel so sad that I would say it's depression. But they don't feel alive. Music. This is functional depression. You're still here. You're still working. You're still. Laugh in public, but not in secret. Sold out without a clear musical reason. Lose the desire. Lose the curiosity. It loses its color. And then comes the most terrifying part. It happens. You lose confidence in yourself. Emotional signs. You start to think, perhaps this is just a phase of adulthood. But no, this isn't maturity. This is your stage. Earn points to save your body for a love you never had. Received. When a fundamental human need is not met, especially the need to feel emotions as you can see, your brain simply doesn't accept it. Music, the void. He searches an alternative. Because there is a hunger for the connection doesn't just disappear like that. Music, because you signed a marriage contract licenses. That's why people adapt in 3 common ways. Manners. First, indifference. This is the easiest way. Music. You set your expectations to 0. You stop longing for romance. You need to stop the struggle for intimacy. You are transforming a marriage in the context of shared living, with shared and joint billing responsibilities. Abroad, everything seems calm. Inside, you find yourself in an emotional state. Gray gradient. Second, the offset. If you can't get this love within marriage, that's what you give your soul to. The life force resides elsewhere. Work becomes addictive because at least it's a success. It gives you the feeling that you are appreciated. or with children become the emotional center of your world. You will become a perfect mother, not just for them, but because I secretly need someone who needs me. Thirdly, research. That's the most important thing. One of the issues was misinterpreted. People think that it's about selfishness. It's often about hungry. And so begins the fantasy life. Previous romantic relationships on social media. What if? Romantic thoughts late at night. Novels, like oxygen, are consumed emotionally. Relationships with colleagues, because honest conversations are like water in desert. And sometimes, alternatives. It's getting increasingly grim. Pornography, alcohol, shopping, gambling, and everything related to music. A fleeting feeling. Not always. Bad people. They tend to be emotionally unstable. People suffering from malnutrition try to feel alive again, without ruining their lives. So why don't they leave? From the outside, it looks simple. If you're not happy, leave. But psychologically speaking, leaving a loveless marriage is not something to be taken lightly. One decision. It's a collapse of identity. Because as soon as you invest years, money, family approval, together friends, and maybe children, and your brain, it begins with a brutal trick called the sunk cost fallacy in music. I've put a lot of effort into it. This must not be lost. The longer you stay, the heavier it feels. Admit the truth. Shame comes later. Don't do it. The genre is dramatic. Calm, mischievous. Shame. It's shameful to feel ungrateful. It's shameful to break promises. Shameful. Being the person who hasn't been able to achieve that work. But the biggest series of all is this phrase. I'm staying for the sake of the children. And sometimes stability is really important. But this is what people don't want to know. The face. Children learn not only from the face. You said it. That's what they learn from. What is the relationship like? If the house emotionally distant, they absorb the music. They accept it. They are growing up, believing that love is something you keep doing what you're doing. Don't try anything new. In some families, the child is the emotional alternative, which was forced to the role of meaning and comfort, and even company. This is called parental influence. Therefore, the marriage remains valid on paper, but emotional costs are transferred if inheritance. Ultimately, all marriages lack love. He reaches a crossroads. On the other hand, contrary to what most people think, there are only two endings, while in reality there are three. The first result is a marriage based on partnership. It's the path of peace or the path of mock. They are partners. Accept the absence of fire and build one more thing. Friendship, teamwork, routine, shared goals. It's not a movie, but it can be stable, even comfortable. For some, music is enough. The second scenario, a silent hell. This is the moment. Resentment turns into contempt. The simplest things, chewing, breathing, the way they present themselves is frankly irritating. A security measure becomes a prison sentence. The house becomes an emotionally toxic place. Music. Over time, the mind begins to deteriorate. Low weight. The third result, a parallel life. This is a silent tragedy. Without great battles, without separation, music, just two people living together in the same house, like strangers. Two different worlds under one roof. This is a warning sign. Music. When respect disappears, the second consequence soon follows. In the back. Because you can survive from a marriage without passion. But that's impossible. Surviving in a marriage without respect. What would you do if you found out? Are you involved in this? It's just the two of you. Taking the right path requires courage. Roadmap A. Survival and reconstruction. As the relationship is characterized by respect and security, good intentions and love can sometimes be music. Learning again. Start building friendships. Create content weekly. Sincere conversations without reproach. Reestablishing emotional intimacy. Music. Before you anticipate the desire. And if possible, seek professional help. Ask questions. Psychotherapy is not about reforming the guilty party. It's about restoring relationships. Plan B. Leave with dignity. If marriage has become contempt, emotional numbness or pain is not limited to just run. Prepare. Build a solid financial position. Stability. Define boundaries. Create a plan for shared parenting. And give yourself space. Permission to cry. Because life in short, it's better to be alone, and it's more authentic than being together and remaining invisible. Did you like this video? Then subscribe to the channel. For more psychology-based stories, tell the truth. Answer below. Do you think people conform out of fear, or has all hope vanished? Thanks for watching the video.